Let's go to the West Coast and talk to royal commentator, the brilliant Kinsey Schofield. Hi, Kins.
Hey, Kev. Good to hear your voice. Good to see you today.
Always a pleasure. Now, there's a number of things we wanted to talk about, but this just in, this broke today. This is the new trailer for Harry's uneagerly awaited series, which starts in December next month on Netflix. It's all about the sport called polo, the chinless wonders horse sport. Not very nice to horses, if you ask me. Well, not if you ask me. As a matter of fact, it's not very nice to horses. But anyway, Harry's made a series about it. It turns out that Meghan produced it as well. Who knew? And the trailer is out, so boom, 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 drum roll, take it away, polo.
Polo is not just a sport. Polo is a lifestyle. We eat, we breathe, we sleep polo.
For sure it's glamorous. It's a sexy sport too. Dirty, sweaty boys, riding.
The best players in the world come to Wellington to compete in the US Open.
There's a lot of competition. Everybody is fighting for themselves.
Well, that trailer, Kinsey, goes on for over 2 minutes, 2 minutes 20 seconds, like that, something like that. You know, of the series about polo, imaginatively named by Harry Polo. I couldn't help noticing in that entire 2 minutes and 20 seconds, no sign of Harry. The only sign of him being that huge, produced by Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I mean, she came in for nowhere, so she got her oar in, but no sign of him. And this, of course, is what Netflix were dismayed about this whole series, that he's not really in it. It's all those guys from Argentina that we just saw there. You know, some guy called Nacho Fernandez or something. So much so that the dismayed Netflix executives, when they saw it, they thought it was going to be a series all about Harry on his horses, and they said they renamed it The Nacho Show. So the trailer proves Harry's not really in it. I mean, what was he thinking?
Yeah, and the ickiness surrounding the fact that they use their titles, you know, on this, there is nothing charity related when it comes to this. This is clearly about making a buck. This is clearly commercial. And so to see their titles used on a commercial entity, it feels so gross. And you understand why the Queen didn't want them doing that. Netflix, one of their biggest hits this year on the streaming platform was a TV show by one of the Foster sisters, I believe it's Erin Foster, called Nobody Wants This. And I tweeted, obviously the title Nobody Wants This was already taken, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly right. Go on.
Like, it would have taken 3 seconds for Harry to stand in the middle of a grassy knoll or to sit on his computer and shoot a video that says, "Hi all, my name is Prince Harry. I'm so excited to introduce you to my brand new polo show hitting Netflix December 10th. I hope you enjoy. Take a look." That would have told us he was invested. He cared about this project. He was excited about this project. The lack of his presence tells us that he is not committed to it. Therefore, people are not going to tune in. Therefore, he is going to anger the people that sign his paycheck a la Netflix.
Yeah, I could just repeat what it says at the beginning of the series. It goes, or at the beginning of that trailer, executive produced by Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I mean, pompous doesn't even begin to cover it, does it?
No, and I'm glad you brought up, you and I have had multiple discussions about the issues surrounding polo and you know, these large men on these small horses. And there are a lot of comments underneath of the trailer, the premiere of the trailer. One viewer saying, watching a series that glorifies animal abuse is utterly despicable. Shame on you, Netflix. Another, this is a vile sport in terms of how they treat those animals. This is a celebration of animal cruelty. I shudder to think of the animal rights abuses committed for this sport. So this is just the beginning. I believe they're going to see a lot more negative feedback when it comes to, again, glorifying this sport that isn't necessarily great towards their animals. And I've been to polo matches. You've been to polo matches.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
It takes a while for you to understand the mechanics, to understand what the expectations are for the horses. And when you have a better understanding of that, you really start to sympathize with them, and you realize this might not be fair. This might not be fair to this animal.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I mean, first of all, I mean, Harry, I think it was about 10 years ago when he was still over here, you know, a very keen horse or polo player, at the end of a game, a match or whatever you call it, the horse is getting, apart from anything else, it's very, very exhausting for them. And he had a beloved polo pony called Drizzle. And at the end of this match, you know, he came off the pitch and Drizzle dropped down dead from exhaustion. This happens fairly regularly, apparently. But what really happens a hell of a lot, we're watching it now if you're watching on YouTube or on screen, is the horses have to jump, you know, like constantly change direction. Boom, boom, boom. And they're small horses with massive guys on their backs. They break their legs. They have terrible problems with their bones. You know, I don't want to be a killjoy, but it is a cruel sport to these horses. Make no mistake. But even on a far more facile level than that, as someone, I've been to a lot of polo events, because when I was a young reporter we had to go and watch Prince Charles playing that infernal game to see if he was going to kiss some attractive local lady or something, and it's incredibly boring. You know, you have no idea what's going on. It's just a bunch of chinless wonders running around. They're always falling off. You know, none of them seem to be all that good at it. And it's just boring. So I don't hold out much hope for this series. They're obviously trying to turn it into like Grand Prix motor racing or something, aren't they? You know, with all those...
Are you... no, are you... I watched that and thought they were trying to turn it into Bravo. And I'm sorry, I could care less about any of these people. I don't know them. I'm not invested in their personal lives. I don't care if a daddy and a son are competing against each other in polo. I was like, this is the can I say crappy? This is the crappiest pilot for a Bravo TV show I have ever seen. Put it back in the vault. Somebody's fired. The desperation for it was just the desperation for. I was like, I could not care less that when that person just starts beating up the tent. Like, okay, have a good day.
Okay. You seem very annoyed. What are you annoyed about? Oh, wait a minute. I don't care. It's just ridiculous. Well, we'll park that. That starts next month at some point on Netflix. It's a 6-part series. Just one last point about it before we move on, Kinsey, as we alluded to at the beginning. What we didn't know, we thought we knew this was Harry's show. Suddenly Meghan is the executive producer as well. I'm sorry, the Duchess of Sussex. She got her oar in there, didn't she?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, no, this was, I think that she is probably tired of people like you and me trying to hold them accountable and saying, what is it that you do? What have you been doing for the last few months? Where are you? And by slapping her name on this program, she gets to say, well, I produced the show, so I've been doing something. But the reality is Harry and Meghan, they're not out there promoting it. I doubt we'll see them on a carpet to promote it. They won't likely do any media for it. Somebody else threw this together with a bunch of Prince Harry's contacts and friends. I don't think it's going to do really well. If I were Meghan, I wouldn't have put my name on it because it's just going to be another thing to file under her failure category.
Yeah, the long list of her failures. Talking of failures, Harry's spiteful autobiography, Spare, which in fairness, when it came out, was a bestseller. Not surprisingly, it was full of extraordinary revelations, attacks on his family, attacks on Queen Camilla, you know, revelations about some of the problems he had with frostbite that none of us wanted to know, where he first got his end away, you know, where he lost his virginity, you know, TMI, Harry, too much information. But it was a decent read, and it was a bestseller. It's now gone into paperback version for this Christmas. And as I say, talking of failures, this is tanking on an epic level. It currently sales in terms of the sales chart, it stands at an impressive 73 in the charts. In other words, this was not a bestseller. This is a worst seller. What's going on there?
But and also keep in mind that over the summer after this came out, there was a travel agency that was begging people to stop leaving their copies of Spare around the pool in their hotel rooms because they were being inundated with copies of Spare and nobody wanted to take them back. So when the hotel was saying, can we send you this copy that you left in our hotel room back, people were like, no, you can keep it. I have a friend that works in the same space as Prince Harry's team, and they told me a few weeks ago that there were higher expectations for this paperback book.
Yeah. They
are disappointed by the sales.
I'll tell you why, Kinsey. I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why the sales are bad, or I can offer a pretty plausible reason. When most authors, they write a book, bestseller in hardback, often, you know, that'll come out in time for Christmas, and then the publishers will leave the paperback version either to just before the summer holidays or just before the following Christmas to encourage sales of the cheaper paperback. Now, in order to make that work, the authors are often asked to or required to come up with new material. Robert Hardman came up with some really serious stuff on his recent updating of his book about King Charles. We know all about that, when that went into paperback, and it rocketed the paperback version straight up to #1 again. Harry refused to update Spare, partly because I think the message had finally got through to him that this book had rather upset his family, his father, his brother, his sister-in-law, the Queen, etc., etc. So he refused to update it, so it's just, boom, we've just put a softback on it, there it is, and therefore that would be one reason why sales are in the toilet.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I think it's not about hurting his family's feelings, which we know he did. How detrimental that book was. It was shockingly detrimental. I think he was shocked at what a joke that book made him in the States. Jimmy Kimmel, I forgot how many openings Jimmy Kimmel dedicated to the book. You know, wrote an entire fictional children's story around the Elizabeth Arden and Princess Diana. Think about Trevor Noah taking them to task at the Grammys, Joe Coy taking them to task at the Golden Globes, Chris Rock tearing into them. This book made them a target, and he wants to be taken seriously. And I think ultimately...
Good luck with that.
I know. I think that he realized that if he continued to feed this, he's going to have a harder time being taken seriously as a thought leader.
Well, you know... He isn't a thought leader, and he'll struggle always to be taken seriously.
Yeah, we think you need a new wife.
Yeah, yeah, that would help. That would be a good first step towards you know, rebuilding your tarnished image. Before we go, though, it is pretty much the 29th anniversary of that famous bombshell Princess Diana interview with that seedy con man, Martin Bashir. He conned her into this interview. It was nevertheless one hell of an interview. This, of course, is when she gave us all an insight into how her marriage to Prince Charles, the then Prince Charles, has descended into outright acrimony. Let's remind ourselves probably of the key moment.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. your relationship with James Hewitt go beyond a close friendship?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Were you unfaithful?
Yes, I adored him. Yes, I was in love with him.
God, it was strong stuff, wasn't it? The problem with that interview, of course, Diana gave it to the BBC because she felt so hurt and betrayed by Charles because Charles was having an affair with Camilla. As you just heard, that famous moment, the problem with our marriage, there were 3 people in it. So it was a very powerful interview. The problem is, of course, Martin Bashir completely conned poor Princess Diana into giving that interview. We won't go over those details again. Now, the BBC doesn't like to show that anymore. We're allowed to show bits of it. The reason we showed it is because Harry included it in his Netflix series against the express wishes of William, who never wants to see it again. But, of course, as we discussed the other day on your excellent podcast, Recollections May Vary, Kinsey, the thing about Harry is, I'm not decrying his love for his mother, but boy, oh boy, when it suits him, does he cash in on her memory. He cashed in by using excerpts from that interview, didn't he?
That's the truth. I mean, Prince William is saying, this is reminding me of one of the most damaging moments in my mother's life, where I feel like she's vulnerable, where I feel like a sense of paranoia is on display. I'd rather protect her. I'd rather put this interview up, and I'd rather never see it again in my lifetime. You know, weeks pass by, literally almost weeks pass by, and it shows up in Prince Harry's fast cash. You know, he had to cash that check as fast as he could for Netflix so he could afford toilet paper for his 16 bathrooms. Shows up in Prince Harry's docuseries, which just spends, you know, hours upon hours tearing into Prince William and his future ultimately as the sovereign, the future sovereign. So yeah, how hurtful it is. It's going to be a cold day in hell before we see Prince William welcome back Prince Harry with open arms, because Harry has shown us how completely selfish he is.
I think you're right. I think he is a selfish man, a self-obsessed man. A quick last point, Kinsey. You know, we talk about this every week, but, you know, when are we going to see Harry and Meghan together again? Now, last weekend, Harry went to Vancouver to promote his excellent Invictus Games for wounded military heroes, veterans. Good for him. I thought he could have taken Meghan along because she loves Canada. That's sort of her second home. Maybe take the kids, but no, he went on his own. Meanwhile, she went down to Venice Beach, the bohemian area of Los Angeles, just a couple of hours away from Santa Barbara, to dance the night away with a few of her mates promoting some hair product. It was a picture of separateness, wasn't it? When are they going to appear in public again? Because the more we never see them, except when they're on their own, the more people are going to go, what's going on with this marriage?
Yeah, these global philanthropists shilling shampoo and conditioner. And then Prince Harry, within the last few days, inviting some kids to a Christmas. He's doing a digital Christmas party that Meghan Markle's name was not on. You know, Meghan wants to insert herself in the Netflix series, but will allow Prince Harry to participate in a Christmas party on his own. Sit back and think about that. You know?
Yeah, I think we will, and we're going to watch this space. I think you and I, Kinsey, will probably talk of this many more times in the not-too-distant future. Hopefully Monday. Have a great weekend. Fabulous to speak to you, as always. Thank you.